Snigdha ma'am. Hello. Hello. Snigdha ma'am.
हो हो.
Chairperson and the guest has already joined.
सुरू करायचं का?
हो.
Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all in the national webinar on empowering women, a deep dive into the key legal frameworks organized by Department of Sociology, Women's Study Center, Women's Grievance Redressal Cell, and Alumni Association of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar College of Arts, Commerce, and Science, Brahmapuri, on the occasion of International Women's Day. The chairperson of this webinar, Dr. Devesh Kamble sir, principal of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar College, Brahmapuri, and the resource person, Dr. Priya Rao, assistant professor, School of Studies in Law, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla, University, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. All the faculties of our college and all the participants, once again, I welcome you all. Today is 8th March, which is celebrated as International Women's Day. So, first of all, I wish you all happy Women's Day to all. This is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievement of women. It also marks a call to action for accelerating gender equality. When we talk about women's empowerment, empowerment is not a goal, but a foundational process that enable marginalized women to construct their own political agendas and form movements and struggles for achieving fundamental and lasting transformation in the gender and social power structures. Well, today's resource person will talk about women's empowerment and legal provision related with women in details. Without wasting any time, we start the program. We will start this program by reading the preamble of the Constitution. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economics, and political liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Now I request to Dr. Priya Rao to address us. Before that, I would like to introduce her. Today, we have with us very eminent speaker, Dr. Priya Rao. She is assistant professor in School of Studies in Law at Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. She has been awarded several awards for the remarkable work in the field of law, like Vidhi Shikhar Ratna Award, Mahila Shakti Alankaran Sanman, Shikhar Shakti Sanman, and many more. She also has been credited with writing 2 books in the field of law. She also served as a civil judge in the state of Chhattisgarh from 2007 to 2009. Once again, I would like to welcome Dr. Priya for accepting our invitation and thank you for joining us. I invite Dr. Priya to express her thought on women empowerment.
Good morning, all of you.
Dr. Priya.
Good morning, all of you. Thank you so much, Snigdha ji, for inviting me here. I hope I'm audible to all.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, I will just take a minute to share the screen. Is the screen visible?
No, not yet.
I think there is some issue in sharing the screen. So am I audible right now?
Yeah, you are audible.
Huh.
But screen is not visible.
So can I just start my lecture without the PPT?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, right. So, good morning to one and all present here. I am Dr. Priya Rao, Assistant Professor in Law, and I am from Ravi Shankar University, which is a state university in Raipur, which is capital of Chhattisgarh. So today my speech is going to be about women empowerment and including various facets of laws which are important for the rights and privileges which the women should enjoy. And they have been given by the Constitution of India and several other laws, including Universal Declaration of Human Rights. If you talk about, then all of us are born free and equal, and we have the dignity and rights, and everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security. So UN defines women empowerment as basically 5 components, which talks about sense of self-worth, right to have and determine the choices, right to assess the opportunities and resources, right to have the power to control their own lives, and the ability to influence others. तो जब हम महिला सशक्तिकरण की बात करते हैं तो एक नारी को हम दुर्गा के रूप में पूजा करते हैं, शक्तिमयी मानते हैं, लेकिन फिर उसके साथ इतने अपराध क्यों होते हैं? Why does the crime takes place against women in the society? It is only because we lack somewhere or the other in the sense of women empowerment. If we start the history of women empowerment, then it started from Savitri Bai Phule, who was a very famous Indian social reformer who belonged to your state, that is from Maharashtra, and she is regarded as the first female teacher of India. She was the first woman who in 1848, long back, years back in those days, when she tried to bring girls out of their houses and to educate them. And she was given so much of opposition by male folks, but still she worked hard. And after 100 years of her, in 1848 till 1948, we found so many other women leaders who have come to the platform, like Indira Gandhi, Sarojini Naidu, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. But you see, the thing is, women cannot work unless and until there is a supplementary, complementary participation of the males also in the society. And therefore, there were so many male leaders who supported the cause of women, including Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Jyoti Rao Govindrao Phule. So there are plethora of people who were very positive for the female development. Especially if we talk about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he said in his own words, he said, I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. Means the constitution has given a lot of rights to women, but they still lack in the dignity and the amount of respect which they deserve. तो महिला सशक्तिकरण जब हम बात करते हैं, इट इंक्लूड्स लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, आर्थिक, राजनीतिक, कानूनी मुद्दे, सामाजिक मुद्दे, सो स्पिरिचुअल, पॉलिटिकल, सोशल, एजुकेशनल, जेंडर, इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रेंथ, एवरीथिंग इज इंक्लूडेड इन women empowerment. So why is there a need of women empowerment? It's basically because there is a lot of educational problems which these females suffer, and the society being a very patriarchal society, only in few states like in Kerala and other states where there is few matriarchal society you can find, but otherwise there is so much of dominance of male folk in our society. So this leads to low confidence in women. Lack of unity is also one of the major reason, and there are traditional barriers which along with poverty and ignorance have led to the situation which women are facing today. So empowerment of India, if we talk about it, basically relates to social, economical, and political empowerment. So what is social empowerment? Social empowerment या सामाजिक सशक्तिकरण जब हम बात करते हैं, it deals with the education. There is no direct relationship between education and workforce participation, but it affects, because once you are educated, you will automatically try to become economically independent. And once you are independent, there will be a social standing of yours in the society, and you will have money in your hand. So culture and tradition also plays a very important role towards this side of women empowerment. Now we come to economic empowerment. Economic empowerment means women should have the decision-making power in the household, in the business where they are working, as well as they have so much of property rights. Nowadays, because of Hindu Succession Act, so many rights have been given to the women. Initially, what used to happen was whatever father's property, it used to go to the son, and the ladies and the females who used to get married, they were removed from the hierarchy. They were not given the share in the property because she was married. But now after Hindu Succession Act, the amendment which has been brought about, there is the equal right for women and male in the property of the father. Similarly, in political empowerment, if we talk about representation in democratic institutions is taking place, government reservation policy is working for women, but still there is a need for a lot of measurements to be taken, because there are only about 11 to 12% female in the parliament who are representing such a huge population of women in India. So the need for women empowerment today is because so that the next generation will become empowered. And if women will get empowered, then only she will be sharing the financial burden of a man in the family, and the family can be more strong. Because you see, there is so much of living standard which is increasing day by day, and there is so much of expenditure in the families. So unless and until both the family members are working, it is very difficult for the family to grow and become more strong and become more economically resilient. So the reasons for women empowerment now that we were talking about is basically for increasing the social participation, the political participation, the economic participation, and it can only happen if you have the access of education to these females. Not only school education, but also higher education. Because once a female is educated, whole family is educated. We need to give them proper employment. They are equally competent and intelligent and talented females in the society. So why not give them proper benefit of their existence? And this will ultimately lead to economic benefit as well as reduction of violence which is taking place. Basically, if we talk about domestic violence is taking place against female because they are not able to say their whatever feelings they have in front of the husband or the parents of the husband, because they don't have a standing, they don't have money in their hand. So once they become independent, they will have a say in the society, they will have a respect. So women empowerment, there are so many constraining factors also which are working as hurdle for the empowerment, and basically it is the isolation of women from each other. We are educated females, so we have come here in this platform. Like, for example, Snigdha madam has invited me because she, being an academician, she knows me through a platform. We attended a training together. So we are not isolated, but there are so many females who have been married to such families in which they are not allowed to go out or to mingle with other females, and they don't have any social gathering, no educational background. So they have lot of problems. So isolation of women from each other has led to this problem. Similarly, illiteracy is one of the major factors. There are so much of conflicts among women also. You see, in the house itself, when we talk about domestic violence, why every time we talk about nanan and saas, sister-in-law and the mother-in-law, why they are projected negatively in all the TV serials, in all the films? Because there is lack of unity. We among women are not respecting each other. We know we should try and understand that if we want to flourish, we should be united together. We have to give proper respect to each other, irrespective of age, irrespective of the social or educational or economic background which we come from. So the negative and sensational coverage which is being done by media is also one of the major constraining factor for the women empowerment in India. So many serials, they project women as if 90% of the women are jealous and they are vamp in nature, but it is not true. There are like about 80% of the female who want to progress in life, and they appreciate each other and they give opportunities for all of us to grow. So if we talk about women empowerment, it is only possible by education, health, self-reliance, justice, sensitivity, and equality. But along with women empowerment, there are few areas which needs to be stressed on, and they are the exploitation, the harassment, the discrimination which the women is suffering from. Basically, the problems which are faced by women, if we talk about, there are female feticides which are taking place. The moment the lady becomes pregnant, she is being sent to a sonography center in order to find out about the womb, the embryo is male or female. So, and if it is a female, there are situations in which the parents have tried to abort that female child in the womb. So female feticide is the problem, which is the basic problem. It's a menace which is happening. And along with this, there is like women trafficking that is happening. There are so many women who are being trafficked from one place to another district so that they can be worked as a child for bonded labor or for prostitution. So women trafficking is also one of the areas we need to be, which is the serious crime which is happening against women. Sexual harassment, if we talk about, it's not only sexual harassment at home, but it is also happening in the workplaces, because there are so many male who are working with us and they want to subjugate us, they want to dominate us, and they do certain things in certain manner. It is not purely direct touch which the person makes the other female uncomfortable, but there are several other issues which are involved. It can be either by giving you fear, or by giving you like they will give you promotion, or they ask for certain favors. So there is a lot of disparity which is happening. Whatever we are seeing and what is the reality, it is very different. And the females who are working are also facing a lot of harassment, not only from the family side, but also in the workplaces where she's working. So domestic violence, along with it, there are the eve teasing, acid attack, prostitution, so many other crimes which are happening in the society. But apart from this, if we talk about positive things, it is the Constitution of India. Because fundamental rights in Article 14 talks about equality of rights and opportunity for men and women in political, economic, and social spheres. Similarly, Article 15 talks about prohibition of discrimination on the ground of sex, religion, caste. So 15.3 talks about empowering the state to make affirmative measures for women. So there are so many steps which have been taken by government in the constitution itself, which talks about the equality of women. Not only this, even the directive principles of state policy also talks about the for the females, and it talks about adequate means of livelihood to men and women, equal pay for equal work. And along with this, there are fundamental duties on every citizen to renounce the practices which are derogatory to the dignity of women. So if we see, there are several laws which have been made. When I was talking about the crime against women, there are certain crimes which have been specifically laid down in Indian Penal Code. When obscene acts or songs are being like they are shown in the pictures, it also happens in front of the colleges when there is lot of eve teasing which takes place with the girls. So these obscene acts or obscene songs which are, or obscene words which are uttered in public places has been made a crime under section 294 of Indian Penal Code, in which there is a punishment for about 3 months or fine or with both. But there is lack of knowledge with the females. Similarly, for acid attack also, there is a specific provision which has been made when there is a grievous hurt which takes place because of the permanent or partial damage or deformity of the body, which is caused because of that throwing or administering of acid by a person, then there is imprisonment for not less than 10 years, which can also extend to about imprisonment for life. So there are so many crimes which are there, and there are simultaneously there are laws also available in the society, but people are unaware of those legal provisions. So this session, through this session, I want you all to get aware of the laws which are for the women. So when I was talking about acid attack, there is also a provision in the law which talks about attempt to throw the acid. So even if a person tried to throw acid on you, then it is also a crime under section 326 capital B of Indian Penal Code. Then there is, as you all know, that section 375 and 376 talks about the punishment for causing rape against a female. And this is it has become such a heinous crime that the punishment has been increased by Justice J.S. Verma committee report. And along with it, if we talk about, there is so much of crime which is happening against female, like in kidnapping, abduction. The females are being kidnapped from their lawful guardianship and are being sold to some other person. Not only this, there is also a provision of dowry death. Dowry death says that if a female is being married and within 7 years of her marriage, when she was newly wed, if a lady is some injury occurs on her body because of burn or bodily injury, and she dies under unnatural circumstances, then there is a suspicion that she has undergone cruelty by her husband and her relatives. And this leads to the provision of dowry death in 304B of Indian Penal Code. Similarly, cruelty under section 498A of IPC, which talks about several forms of cruelty, not only physical form of cruelty, but also talks about verbal and other forms of cruelty which is faced by the women. Similarly, molestation or eve teasing is also punishable under section 354. There are so many pictures which have been made on this, or like there was a movie of Ajay Devgan in which they had talked about molestation and eve teasing, and how a person was, a female was, her video clipping was made and she was blackmailed. So these all are crimes which are covered in Indian Penal Code. So there is a provision, specific provision, if there is a crime which is taking place in the society in which the female is tried to undress or disrobe the women against her will, and there are several instances in which the female from lower community are undressed and are compelled to walk naked in front of public. So it is also a punishment under IPC in section 354B, in which there is a punishment for not less than 3 years. Similarly, if we go to a mall or if we go to a public place and if a man is trying to watch us or capture image of a woman without her permission, then also it comes under crime of voyeurism. जिसमें ये होता है कि आप किसी वॉशरूम में यूज कर रहे हैं या फिर आप किसी मॉल में कपड़े बदलने गए हैं और कोई हिडन कैमरा लगा है, लॉज में कोई हिडन कैमरा लगा है, तो इसमें ये वाला क्राइम होता है जिसमें यू आर लाइक कंसेंट इज नॉट टेकन फ्रॉम यू एंड यू आर बीइंग कैप्चर्ड इन द फिल्म. So this is an offense punishable for not less than 3 years. Similarly, stalking. Stalking means it is not only पीछा करना जो physical form में हो सकता है, but it also stalking which is happening nowadays online. When we talk about cyber stalking, in which the people are constantly messaging you in WhatsApp and you don't know that person, that is an unknown call which is coming again and again and disturbing you, or there can be unknown messages from a person. So in the mail, so these are called as the stalkers. So physical stalking के साथ साथ अभी virtual stalking भी हो रही है, और against these crime you can approach the nearest police station and you can file the FIR against this offense of stalking. Similarly, if we talk about sexual harassment at workplace, there are several instances in which the female who are working in the workplaces are met with the condition in which the male counterpart tries to show you certain porn videos or photographs or messages you which are vulgar, or calls by certain vulgar names to you, or tries to threaten you that he or she will not give you promotion unless and until you compromise with him. So these are the offenses which takes place in our day-to-day life, and there is a sexual harassment cell which has been made in all the colleges, in all the schools, in all the working against them. In section 509, if we talk about in the IPC, there is also a crime in which the modesty of a woman is tried to being outraged by uttering certain of Indian Penal Code. Similarly, if we see, there are certain provisions which have been made in Information Technology Act. In section 66, the text, image, audio, video, electronic record, if we talk about, there are certain crimes which are which are called as cyber crime, which is happening in which there is stalking, morphing. So certain crimes which are concerned with the computer, with the IT, they are covered under Information Technology Act. After this, I would like to discuss about the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, which is there, which says that any child who is being married below the age of 18 years, then he or she, the family members will be taken in custody because they have violated the law. Similarly, if we talk about Domestic Violence Act of 2005, it basically says that any abuse against women in their home, including physical, sexual, verbal, emotional, or which are economic in nature, whether they are being beaten or forced to provide sex to the male counterpart, everything is included in the type of violence which is mentioned in Domestic Violence Act. So physical form of violence, if we talk about, it is like pushing, slapping, kicking, hitting a woman with an object, or use of knife, gun, or acid, or burning that female. This is sort of physical violence which takes place. But along with it, there are certain verbal form of violence like shouting on the female, making threats to her, calling names, humiliating remarks or gestures on a female. Similarly, in sexual violence, if we talk about forcing to intercourse with a female without her desire without her against her will. So these are the forms of violence which are happening, and there are other forms of violence which also takes place, like isolating her from her family, friends, not allowing her to go and mix with her family members or meet their friends. And this is also done by economic control, in which the female is taken control over by the husband and the family, and whatever she's earning, that she's not able to invest without the like advice or from the consent of their family members. So these type of women have to go to the Mahila Police Thana, or what we called in English the police station for females, in which they can file the FIR against the cruelty which is happening against them and domestic violence. When they go to the magistrate, this case goes to the magistrate, then there is an order for protection which is given to the female, and there is residence order also. The female is allowed to stay in the same house and can contest the case, and she will not be evicted from the shared household. Similarly, she will also be getting compensation in order to claim the damages for the mental and the physical injuries which she has suffered from. Not only this, the monetary relief and maintenance, the medical expenses or the damage to property, because there are many times in which domestic violence happens and the female's either phone is broken or her vehicle is broken, or sometimes her watch or sometimes her jewelry is broken. So all these will come under the monetary relief or the compensation which she will be getting from the damages which have occurred to her belongings during the fight of the domestic household. Not only this, there are mental trauma which the female undergoes, and she can claim for the compensation. And if there is an order to the husband to fulfill certain criteria, and if he fails to fulfill those orders, then he will be sentenced to jail up to 1 year, or fine of rupees 2 lakh rupees is also being provided. Similarly, there is also a law of equal remuneration for equal work, equal pay for equal work. There is also an act which was passed in 1976, and there was an act for medical termination of pregnancy act in 1971, which says that it is her body and it is her choice. If a female who is married and is mature enough, is adult, to understand what is right and wrong for her, then doctor is not going to take the consent of the husband. It is female who has to decide whether she wants to carry the child or want to abort the child. So there are so many provisions which are being made for the benefit of women, including the Maternity Benefit Act, which is there, in which there is certain provision of about like 6 months. The female can stay at home for the maternity relief and can take care of her newborn child. And there is also an act for dowry prohibition, in which it extends to the whole of India, in which any person after the commencement of this act gives or takes dowry, then he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which is not less than 3 years, and with fine which is not less than 15,000 rupees. So along with it, there are family courts which are there in the all the courts of the district, which take care of the maintenance issues, the divorce issues. Now, coming to the other aspect, if we talk about, it is also said that, ma'am, you are only highlighting the rights which are being given to the women. What about the rights of male? There are several instances in which the males are also facing the cruelty by the female. See, I will not say that ये जो लॉ बन रहे हैं उसका मिसयूज नहीं हो रहा, आप सही है, काफी सारी फीमेल्स इस लॉ का मिसयूज भी कर रही हैं, और वो फीमेल गलत तरीके से मेल को टॉर्चर भी करती हैं. जैसे आप लोगों ने अभी एक वायरल वीडियो देखा होगा जिसमें ये कहा गया कि द मेल वाज बीइंग टॉर्चर्ड बाय द वाइफ, saying that I will not take care of your parents, I will not responsible for the parents of the husband, because you should put them in a old age home and I will not take care. So there is not a single provision in law which talks about the cruelty against husband. But I will tell you that this is a ground for divorce. In section 13 of Hindu Marriage Act, when we talk of divorce, There are certain grounds which are there under which a female can take or a male can take divorce against the female. So if a female does like that, then this ground will be covered in the specific ground of cruelty, because it's a mental cruelty which the husband is suffering from regarding the type of behavior which the female is doing against his parents. Similarly, there is also a provision for Special Marriage Act, in which the children from different communities, if they want to get married, they can marry after applying in this Special Marriage Act. In our state of Chhattisgarh, we have certain laws which are against the witchcraft or the witch hunting practices which take place, in which few females are being like abused, as they are tonhi, or what we say, the witchcraft. So there is a law for the prevention of these type of designs which is there in society. Similarly, maintenance, which is there in under section 125 of CRPC, it talks about not only the maintenance of the parents, wife and children, it includes the maintenance of the old age parents with the husband, who are living with the husband. And there is also a law for the indecent representation of women in the society, because there are so many vulgar advertisements which are being made. So censor board takes care of these advertisements and what is coming in the media, but at the same time there is also Indecent Representation Act which is there for the females. Similarly, Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 talks about several forms of marriages, in which they talk about the types of valid marriage, what are the conditions or the requisites for a valid marriage, like the person should be above the age of maturity, should not be a minor, should be sane, should not be like mentally disabled, and should not be Sapinda or Sagotra. Prohibited marriages are not allowed in Hindus. So, but there are marriages which are taking place. So what will happen to them? They will come under voidable marriages. Yani, it depends upon the either party. If they want to continue with the marriage, then law has no issue. So any marriage which takes place, it is very important for the marriage certificate to be registered, that marriage to be registered, because if the female has the marriage certificate, then only she can prove her marriage in the court and she can claim for the maintenance. So what I was telling today was about the rights of the females which are there, which have been provided by so many laws, including Hindu Succession Act, in which the property possessed by a Hindu female is to be held by her absolutely. And it is like daughters have to be given equal rights in the ancestral properties of the husband and the father. So way to women empowerment, if we talk about in the last, I would like to mention that is very important for providing education, and along with education, there is also a need for nutrition, health, sanitation, housing, encouraging women, and for the society to change the mentality towards women. We have to encourage them so that they come forward, and we have to make availability of support system, availability of funds and networking, leadership, so that favorable things are being covered in the media and favorable policy climate comes for the women. So in my whole lecture, I tried to cover all the aspects which are very important for the females, and I hope I have made my things clear, and I'm very thankful for the organization of Dr. Ambedkar Institution, who has invited me today. I'm very thankful to you all, and thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me. I hope if you have liked my session, and if you have any questions regarding it, you can please talk to me and feel free in discussing with me. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, your mic is off.
Okay. You touch the all aspects related with women empowerment. You talk about various problems regarding with women, and various crimes happens with women. How this society dominant to the women. You talk about the legal provision. Uh, your session is very good, and I am very happy to see once again to be here. Uh, Thank you once again. Now I request to Dr. Devesh Kamble sir to express his thought.
Good
Ma'am,
morning.
hello. Ma'am, before that,
Am I
if
audible?
anyone have any question, they can ask directly to Dr. Priya, ma'am.
Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay. So, on this webinar, we have invited Dr. Priya Rao to enlighten about us about the legal provisions for women empowerment. Means, what are the provisions we have made, and what are the social, economical, political, cultural, and traditional uh, provisions which we have for women empowerment. Actually, what women empowerment is, what I learned from this session is that what we have promised in our constitution, that right to life, and by various decisions of the court, life, right to life is not just a simple right, but it is very complicated. And complicated in the sense is that right to life does not mean to just live, means just to exist, but it is a dignified life. And when you get a dignified life, and a dignified life is full of, means a life which a man leads according to his will, according to his wish, according to his desires. And right to life, if he have to enjoy that right to life, he must have a good access to education, good access to health services, uh, all the things which he needs to make himself happy. Women empowerment, in such case, if you want to discuss the women empowerment, what I came to conclusion from the session is that it is nothing but bestowing upon women the right to decision making. Means they are the masters of their own fate, and they will decide what is good for them, what is bad for them. You, as a nation, what you need is to provide a social, economical, political, cultural atmosphere wherein women would be able to enjoy their life as they wish. We as a nation, yeah, we as a society, has always, from ancient times, we have dominated women. We have uh, goddess of wealth called Lakshmi, a goddess of education, which is Saraswati, we call it. And what we have in actual, we have denied women the right to wealth, we have denied women right to education, we have denied women all the rights which will help them to lead a dignified life. From this discussion of late, after the commencement of our constitution in 1950, we have tried to bestow upon them, the woman, the right to decision making. Dr. Ambedkar, a pioneer of women's rights in India. Before him, we have Savitribai Phule, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, and other social reformers. We have a galaxy of such social reformers who have worked for the betterment of women. But still, the conditions of women did not improve until the dawn of uh, constitution or independence. And here we have taken various social initiatives, political initiatives, cultural initiatives, economic initiatives, wherein we have tried to treat them, women, as an equal partner and equal share in the nation's wealth. We have also at the same time discouraged evil practices which are detrimental for the women's empowerment. For example, we have various laws such as uh, disturbing the privacy of women. We have 294 of IPC. We have 375, 376. That also we have POSCO Act. Then 354 misusing. We have also have laws for stalking. Then child marriage, domestic violence, MTP Act, and various other provisions which are against means which are to provide women's the right to decision making. And we have tried our best, means we are trying to make social, economic, political atmosphere wherein women empowerment can be a reality, because throughout ages we have never worked on this. We have always uh, treated women as secondary citizens, though they are about 50% of the total population. We have always dominated them, and we have never given them opportunity to prosper, to develop, to lead the life they wanted to, or make their life happy and prosperous. For a nation to be a really developed nation, or a nation to be really prosperous and wealthy nation, you need the people of this country to be prosperous and wealthy and developing people. And if we deny half of the population the right to life, means right to dignified life, then somewhere our efforts for women empowerment are half-hearted. On this occasion, Dr. Priya Rao ma'am has given us a detailed account of the legal provisions and crimes which are conducted, which are against women. I thank them for being the part of this seminar, and also congratulate the various college bodies which have worked hard to bring about this session or webinar to success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts with us. जब हम महिला सशक्तिकरण की बात करते हैं, तब महिलाओं के साथ उसको भी सोशल, इकोनॉमिक्स एंड पॉलिटिकल एजुकेशन राइट्स सब एक साथ समान तरीके से मिलना चाहिए। तभी आज की जो महिला है वो सम्मान से जीवन जीने का उसको भी हक है, तो वो सम्मान के साथ जीना अपना जी सकती। थैंक यू सर। नाउ I call upon Smita Khobragade to propose vote of thanks. Smita.
Good afternoon, one and all. Myself, Smita Khobragade. I am going to present vote of thanks today's webinar organized on the occasion of International Women's Day. Today on 8th March 2024, I would like to thank the chairperson of today's of our college. It is only through his motivation and inspiration this webinar will have been successful. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time. And it is my humble duty to thank resource person of today's webinar, Dr. Priya Rao ma'am, who has given valuable and adorable information about the topic empowering women, a deep dive into the key legal frameworks. Your speech proved very motivational and enriching of our students and staff. We anticipate the same cooperation in future venture. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for giving your precious time. This webinar was jointly organized by Women's Study Center, Women's Grievance Redressal Cell, Department of Sociology, and Alumni Association organizers. I also thank organizer of this webinar, Professor Tufan Avtade sir and Dr. Signa Kamble ma'am, who has anchored this webinar very nicely. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I also thank Dr. Umesh Hade sir, librarian of our college, for providing technical support. Last but not least, a thank all of my dear students, staff, and participants for listening very carefully and attentively. With the kind permission of chairperson of this webinar is concluded. I request all participants to stand up for national anthem. जनगण अधिनायक जय हे भारत
गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंद हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जगति तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभाशिष माघे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much once again.